The primary purpose of this podcast is to inform and educate. The information and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the official position of the Life Saving Society of Ontario.
All right, so Jason and I are here to welcome you to our first Lifeguard for Life podcast. So this is just a little teaser episode to give you a taste of what our podcast is going to talk about and who we are. So I am Stephanie Bacalar, and my partner in life saving is Jason Jolicoeur. And Jason, is that how you pronounce your last name?
Well, if you're French, it's, I guess, Jolicoeur, and normally I just say Jolicoeur, though. Okay. It's a little easier.
So you're not French then?
I'm only a little bit.
A little French. So Jason and I will be your hosts for this Lifeguard for Life podcast. And we also have hiding in the background our producer, Patrick King. You might actually know him from his former gig as the Lifeguard Services Chair for the Life Saving Society, or his current high profile role as the Vice President of our training programs. So Jason, on that note, shall we introduce ourselves to our fans and listeners?
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is give a little bit of background about what we're doing currently. But what I'd really like to hear, Stephanie, is, why did you become a lifeguard? What kind of got you into it in the beginning? So do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so currently I work for the city of Woodstock. I'm actually not in aquatics currently, but I do get to help. I get to work with Patrick, actually. So I get to help him a little bit on the pool deck. But I'm currently doing recreation programs, camps, and sponsorship. I'm also, though, a national trainer for the Life Saving Society, so I do get to teach quite a bit, which I really do like. I'm also the bronze chair, so all those resources that are coming out, my committee has, had a hand in those. And I guess what really got me into it, I grew up in a really small town. It was called Harrow, outside of Windsor.
I've never heard of it.
I know, and it's like 3,000 people, really, really tiny. So the only swimming lessons I was able to get were in the summer. In a backyard pool that the city actually had like an agreement with the owner of. Yeah, but like awesome. I loved it. I would bike there myself every morning. I went through like life saving one, two, three. I think I did bronze medallion maybe there, but then had to kind of leave from there. But they had the greatest lifeguards. I would get there early. I would help them set up. They would kind of show me what their job was all about. And I really, really liked it. So that kind of got me into going to, encouraged me to go to Bronze Cross, to National Lifeguard. And then when I got hired in the town of Essex under Cynthia Cakebread, I was kind of introduced to this whole new world of like aquatic training and lifeguarding. And I ate it up, loved it. So then I kind of went on from there and kept getting more advanced qualifications. So what's your story, Stephanie?
Well, two am from a very small town, a little bigger. I'm from Midland. So there's about 16,000 people in Midland, one pool, the good old Midland YMCA. So I worked there in a variety of capacities in aquatics and programs and whatnot. But I lived in the pool. I grew up on the Georgian Bay, lived in the lake, spent all of my spare time in the water. And my sister and I grew up watching Baywatch. And we just so badly wanted to be lifeguards. People would say, what are you going to be when you grow up? And we're like, lifeguards. Of course, we're going to be lifeguards. What else would you want to do with your life? We both were instructors. I think I loved lifeguarding, but I love teaching. I love teaching all courses. Honestly, teaching swimming lessons is one of my favorite things. I love teaching lifeguarding. I love first aid, but I really enjoy teaching swimming lessons. There's nothing like seeing a kid put their face in the water for the first time. That's my favorite. So I did that. And then in the summers, while I was in high school and university, I worked in Wasaga Beach at the water park. Tons of fun, lots of rescues, lots of, public relations and stuff like that to do. So great gig. You're out in the sun.
You personally got to do a bunch of these rescues?
Tons of rescues. Yeah.
Wow.
Multiples a day. You were always jumping in, just pull outs, just jump in, grab them out. And then, lots of medical incidents.
Yeah.
Some spinals. We kind of,
wow.
It was a wild place to work.
Yeah.
Lots of super, super interesting things that you did not learn about in your courses. things I now teach because I experienced them and thought, oh my God, no one ever mentioned that. So maybe we'll talk about those things one day in the podcast episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I've taught lots and lots of different places, different Toronto-wise, all around, and then worked with the Life Saving Society in the office, writing your favorite manuals and your award guides and running social media and stuff for a while. So
what's your involvement with the Life Saving Society now?
I am the resource development chair. So I did move on from my role with Life Saving, but once you're in Life Saving, you can't leave, right? Like it's such a family and it's such a great organization. So I did move on to a sort of different atmosphere for my career, but I am the resource development chair. So still helping out with anything you need, like videos, infographics, you name it, we'll design it, we'll make it for you. Me and my team.
That is great. So I imagine some of you are wondering, who we're doing this for and why we're doing this. So really, we want to target fellow lifeguards and instructors, possibly other aquatic programmers, for sure Life Saving Society affiliates, and generally people that are passionate about life-saving and lifeguarding. So that's our target audience. And why we're doing this, it's just a new, exciting way to get in touch with our other fellow lifeguards within the province. This is something new. We haven't done it before, so I'm pretty excited about it. And you'll be able to get to hear us talk about all sorts of different topics. So it should be pretty fun. So Stephanie, I think the next thing we're going to talk about is
let's talk about those topics.
Yeah, what's our first topic?
Let's get into some of those topics. Yeah, you can't tease that and then not tell the people what we're going to talk about. So some things we've thought of, and again, we are open to suggestions from our listeners and from our fellow lifeguards. So we will shoot you the email towards the end of the podcast so you can let us know what you'd like to hear about. But some things we've got coming up, we are going to talk about changes to the National Lifeguard Program, asynchronous learning and what the heck that means and how you will implement it and how great it can be, and all those good things. But our first ever podcast topic is actually going to look at the lifeguard shortage. And that will be launching November 22nd. So put that in your calendars, be excited. Jason, do you want to give a bit more detail about what we're talking about with that?
Yeah, for sure. So the focus of this one, it's going to be like basically probably a two-parter by the end of this. So that we're going to start off with talking about what we've already learned from lifeguard shortages. We did a lot of work on this pre-pandemic. So we're going to refresh everyone on those tips and tricks we've already shared with you maybe a few years ago now. And then, in the new year, we're going to do a part 2, which will be coming out of COVID, and how we can assist you with some tips and tricks on getting more lifeguards on your deck.
Perfect. And one other topic that we have that our listeners may want to submit some questions for is going to be urban myths around lifeguarding and life saving. So if you have heard something out there and you're not sure if it's true or not, you can send it in and we will confirm and we will get you the details. So our email address where you can submit those burning questions is lifeguardforlife@gmail.com.
Yeah, and that's the number 4, lifeguard.
Oh, the number 4. See, I didn't know that.
podcast@gmail.com.
So lifeguard number 4 life podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about those urban myths. That'll be our December release. So we really do want to hear if you have heard some weird ones. We have a lot of resources. We'll be able to determine if that is in reality something that exists or it is just a myth.
And we're going to be bringing guests onto this show. Like we're going to have the experts, and this is your chance to ask experts questions. So if you have a burning question, we'll find the expert. We'll get them on the podcast. We'll get your answers. So yeah, shoot us emails. Let us know if there's anything you're interested to talk about or to hear us talk about. And hey, maybe you have something great you want to share and you want to be on the podcast. Let us know. All right, Jason, is there anything else we should tell our listeners?
I think that's good. I think we should sign off, and we're looking forward to November 22nd release. We'll see you then.